Doctor Who is back on the telly. It's time for a spoiler cast with your boy Will.
And your boy Sam.
Oh, that's about as much excitement as we'll have for the rest of this thing. Doctor Who Flux, the first episode, popped up on the ABC iView for us in Australia, on an actual television station anywhere else. I don't think it's on TV at all here.
Oh,
from
really?
what I can tell. Yeah, I don't think it's even being broadcast. It's just an iView.
Oh, no.
It's taken it a bit step
It's
down.
not a good sign.
It's not great, but we're going to be talking all about it. Probably heavy spoilers just because you're either watching it or you're not. But before we get into spoilers, spoiler-free, how are you feeling, Sam?
Kind of the same way I've been feeling for the past 2 seasons. It was okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of like spoiler-free things, I would say that's about it. Like, it's okay. I found it just to be a bit all over the place as well. Yeah, but like there was some like cool things here and there, but it's not your series back in 2005 through to 10 where it's just pure gold.
It's pure gold. Yeah, there's like. It feels like they're trying. I think this is the first time I've felt like they're trying to be Doctor Who. I think the other 2 series are very much like trying to do their own thing, which is totally fine, but it just didn't work for so many people.
Absolutely.
I know some people love it. I don't know how, but if you do love it, that's on you, and I'm glad that you've enjoyed the past 2 years. This feels like it's getting a little bit closer to being something we can enjoy, but it is like... It's weirdly messy, and from what I can tell, this was a standard 10-episode series. 10 episodes were written, but due to COVID, they could only shoot 6. So what I think is going on here is they had 10 scripts. They worked out the bits that we'll need to know to understand whatever the arc is. And so this episode probably has scenes from other episodes that were written, and they're going to, through this Flux series, insert pieces from full episodes that they couldn't make. So there's probably just elements that they don't have time to make a full episode, so they're just going to shovel them into episodes and hope we understand what's going on.
That really concerns me.
It's pretty wild. And look, cards off the table, spoiler time. This episode just jumps around. And I admit, like, there's shows that do it. There's shows that have multiple things going on. But the thing that makes this weird is that we, like, go to these things once. It's like they're just one single scene from a separate element that barely ties in. And it's weird because for me, Sam, I think that this episode could have like been almost a Rose, like first episode back, because all the stuff with Dan, I think is the new guy, all the stuff with him was really good. And like he's a really interesting character. I like the idea of like he's a Scouser that wants to like big up the Liverpool energy and like keeps going into museums and all that. Like I love that. I like the slow, or everything that's slow in his stuff were great. Yeah. But it's when you cut to the Doctor doing all the stuff that feels like it's from a completely different episode. It's like, because it felt like you could even like when he meets the teddy bear, like all of that felt like an OG Who companion interaction, like introduction kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm if there's one thing that I'll say positive about this, I like Dan. Yeah. I'm a fan of Dan.
Yeah, like I thought he was really cool because like similar to Rose, it's like you got a bit of like of a backstory into what her everyday life is like and like what she does with her spare time, where she lives. And like, like I think so he was like really, really good. And like there was one moment in the show where I was watching it and I was kind of like, oh my God, this is like, it's back. But then the rest of it around it was just like noise. Like I didn't know what was going on. And like there was a brief moment where you hear like the sound of the TARDIS as well. And I was like, oh yeah, that's good. But then other than that, I was just like, what?
It's just a mess. And like the thing that makes me so sad is this is her 3rd season. I still don't know who Jodie is as the Doctor. It's this vague persona that it feels like an actor in a show, whereas every other Doctor, it's like they're so ethereal as the Doctor. They're so outside of being an actor. Whereas whenever I see Jodie, I don't have any attachment to her Doctor because she doesn't do much. Yaz does the most in this episode when she's the one that breaks Dan out. Yeah. She's the one that works out a lot of things. The Doctor just like bounces around the places and hopes for the best. And I'm just sad that I'm not excited to see Jodie because she's great. Yeah. I don't want it ever to be that a female Doctor can work. A female Doctor 100% can work.
Absolutely.
It's just they're not writing for her. It's wild.
I think because like I was thinking about this the other day. I think because like I've got that exact same that like opinion. Like there's moments where you're like, okay, cool, but then there's other moments where you're like, I'm not that invested. And it's nothing wrong on her part. It purely just comes down to like the show and the writing and what she's given as an actress to do and say. But I think one of the main reasons why we are a bit like this is because like with like Tennant and like Matt Smith and so on, their version of this character has had like very emotional moments, like moments that remind you that this character has been through a lot and that they've got a lot of like, you know, weight on their shoulders with like their past lives and what's to come. With Jodie, we haven't really gotten that. Like there was all that stuff about her being... Oh, I've totally forgotten what the last season was. The
timeless child?
Yeah. There was like all of that, but even that didn't feel as heavy of a burden as like what's happened to the Doctor in past series.
Well, it's also the fact that like Tennant and everyone, they all knew what happened. Everything that happens to Jodie is she's shocked by it. They're like, here is this event that happened into your life, and she's like, what? What do you mean?
She's like, since when?
Since when did that? Yeah. And like even in this episode, the whole like thing with this weird new villain is that he has experienced something she hasn't. So she's lost. She at no point in Jodie's like series does she know what's going on at all.
Yeah, totally.
But that's such a good like the one moment that she almost had it is in that Cyberman episode where she's in the dungeon or the thing down below and has like that. I don't even remember because all the writing in this show was horrendous. Yeah. Like, it's so bad. But, that's a good point. There's just no emotion to her character. And she doesn't have much of even emotional ties to Yaz and all of her companions.
Exactly.
They're so vague as characters.
Yeah. Because, like, I've just felt like in this show, in the past series, both, like, our main character and, like, the companions just go through, like, so much together. Yeah. And like they kind of like bond over time as well. Like when you have, you know, like for example, with like Matt Smith, you've got him and Amy in the first episode sharing food in the kitchen and bonding, and it's like they go through that, and then you know he meets her however many years in the future, and then it's like there's a whole thing there to unpack, and really brings their whole like sort of time together. Like it kind of just brings it all into a nice little like knot to say, where it's like there's stuff around this. It's not just they're thrown into a police box and they travel through space together, whereas this is kind of what it feels like now. And I'm just kind of like I don't care.
It just it feels clunky. And I think the thing of Chibnall is that it's hard to say it because Moffat and everyone has been a fan that works on the show. From what I know of Chibnall, he's a very big fan of like the classic series, and I feel like he's brought the mentality of very isolated adventures and like the idea of the episode is what drives it, less so the Doctor and the companions and stuff. That a lot of those classics, because they didn't link, there was no reason to build up any kind of connection. And I think that's probably his biggest weakness is that he just doesn't seem to care about character. He just wants a lot of moments. And even in this, the moments don't work for me. So the thing that's happening in this series is there's a thing called the Flux, which is basically a plague that's spreading throughout the universe and all of realities and eating everything up. It's just so dumb. But it's like it's such an idea, and I like they said that this episode was going to basically feel like a finale, and I get that, but again, it just feels like there's no stakes and there's no emotional connection to the thing that's happening. I wasn't scared when it was coming towards the TARDIS. I wasn't. No. I just at no point in these episodes do I care about what's going on.
No,
and it is purely down to the fact the characters just don't exist.
Yeah.
They're not real. Yeah. They don't mean anything to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, like I agree. Like there were times where I was just like, this doesn't seem like a major deal. Like they'll be fine.
They'll be right.
Like I will say when it was going towards them in the TARDIS and it started to like follow their like trace. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I'd like it's interesting.
Up.
Yeah. But I think like speaking about like the main villain and everything, like just thinking about it, I think the most like confusing part of it all, and the part that just like it, like this shouldn't be an issue, like this should be fixed anyway, is that this villain's come out of nowhere. He's figured out a plan out of nowhere how to get out of this prison, and also knows how to psychic link with the doctor.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, I need more context there.
Totally.
Like, you can't just give me that and then have it be okay.
Which is assumedly the whole this arc is about those two.
Hopefully.
But there is just like, they just throw so much at you in this.
Yeah.
Like there's the Sontarans pop in for a brief moment and they're like, lol, we're here. Cool.
Yeah.
They're in next week's episode, so I guess it was a fun teaser for that. The Weeping Angels are here. There's something going on with that girl. That's probably actually the most intriguing part of this whole thing.
Absolutely.
So for my thinking is it'll probably be a very unique thing where she's in like a time loop with the angels. That kind of feels like what we're gonna, because she was like, because this girl, which I think I spent the episode thinking it was Dan's girlfriend, and then when it wasn't, I'm like, oh, it's a different white woman.
Yeah.
They just looked the same. Everyone looked the same in this. Because she comes across the Doctor and Yaz and knows of them and is confused by that.
Yeah.
And then out of that also then gets taken back in time by the angels.
Yeah.
There could be a clever cut in, the one in that scene was a different one to that one. But the thing about...
yeah, that'd be cool.
Like there's a hidden thing in there. Yeah. But the thing is, the one that got taken by the angel in this knew of the Don't Blink thing. So she'd clearly encountered them and been through it all before.
Yeah.
So there's something. Hopefully, there's something interesting in that.
I mean, I really hope there is, because like same as you, like that, like when that bit happened, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, because coming up to like the start of this new series, I haven't really like, because like I think most of the news and like behind set photos and stuff for Doctor Who mainly just happens on Twitter, and I'm really not on there, so it's like I didn't know what to expect, what was going to be in the episode, what wasn't. So when the angels showed up, I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh my god. But it got me really excited, because I was like, it takes you back to, because like for me, like my favorite villains are easily the Weeping Angels and the Vashta Nerada. So to see one of them, I was like, sick. But yeah, and like I think, like moving on to like next week's episode, because like this whole series is meant to be like one big story.
Yes. Yeah.
Having you saying that, like earlier on, that they're kind of cramming the series into like these, like, what was it, 6 episodes?
6 episodes. Yeah.
It makes more sense. But when I was watching like the Next Time trailer, I was like, how can you just hop from the TARDIS nearly getting eaten by the Flux to a Sontaran battle? Because it doesn't feel like it, like, because like, for example, with Back to the Future, it's like, those movies all link up. Yep. That's what I was kind of hoping for with this series. So when I saw the Next Time trailer, I was kind of like, well, how are you going to get to this point after this major thing that's just happened? And it also kills them, the mood of they're about to die, and then you just see them walking around. Dude, it's like, absolutely.
What are your thoughts there?
Absolutely.
God.
Even when I finished the episode, I knew there was going to be a Next Time trailer. I was like, I don't want to watch that because it's going to show me nothing bad has happened to them, as far as we know anyway. But they're fine. They're walking around. They're taking care of other issues. Yeah,
it's all over. It's very silly. It's very silly. I'm intrigued to know like the trajectory of this series. Like, a part of me is not, because I don't really, because the other element of this is they keep bringing up the Division, which is of course the alt universe thing where the fugitive Doctor kind of came from and all that. So it's kind of, I think, assumed that this dude maybe fought a Doctor that Jodie hasn't been yet, or one of the ones she was but forgot about. That's kind of where it is. Unless
that would be cool. Like I wouldn't mind that. As long as it's not like they bring out another person who was at one point an incarnation of the Doctor and just expect me to deal with it. Because I'm like,
Totally.
wait, no. How?
No. Stop just casting new people. Like, you can keep the Ruth Doctor as your like the Doctor we don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't keep bringing in new people.
Yeah, no.
But it's I think it's just an element of Doctor Who that is going to be hard to deal with. Is that whole timeless child idea? I still don't agree with, and
no, not at all.
I don't know if I want a whole series based around it again. I don't. Maybe he'll make it work this run, but it still is such a baffling and uncomfortable thing to have done that whole. The Doctor is chosen through time to be a hero, which is just not the point of the character.
No.
But it's it's interesting that in his second to last series, Chibnall's trying to be interesting and make a cohesive world. But
yeah, totally. And look, I mean, I'll give him this last series because I just know that when our boy comes back, RTD, Russell T Davies, I know he's going to do justice. I just know he is. I'm so keen for it.
Yeah.
And I think like that was part of why I was able to just like deal with like this episode. I was like, okay,
it's why they did it.
There's better things to come. There's better things to come.
They knew when to put that announcement out. They knew that we needed it to stomach. And you know what? It did, that announcement fueled my Doctor Who fire a little bit, and maybe it will help enjoy this series a bit more. Like I think. And it's a terrible thing because you really should be basing your enjoyment off the thing you're watching. But I do think I'm a little bit more keen in the world of Doctor Who because I know the future's bright. So I'm excited to see what they do here. And it's a thing that we have always wanted, and I don't think they did well last run, but we do love an ongoing arc. And
absolutely.
So, if there's a little bit of mystery here. This episode was very clunky, but I do think, the idea of a villain that has fought a different version of our Doctor and the Doctor doesn't remember, like it's a villain that's got an upper hand on the Doctor, which doesn't happen very often. So it'll be interesting. I think the villain design is a bit dumb, like just bits of crystal, and it's the tooth guy from the first episode again.
That's
right?
what I thought. Yeah,
it's the same thing. But hopefully it gets it through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because like other than what we've just spoken about, like there really wasn't much like stood out to me in a way. Actually, like, I mean, I found it interesting that the Doctor was kind of keeping some secrets from Yaz about the TARDIS, like when she sort of uses the sonic to like check out that sludge that was falling. Stuff, yeah. Is it venom? I don't know.
Venom.
But yeah, I mean, like I found that interesting. Like I would like that to maybe be some kind of a big deal, just so that there's like some stakes somewhere.
Totally.
But yeah, and I like again, it's a thing with me where I hate how easily they throw new characters into this world. Like, like Dan's great. But like, and like, I understand that with his circumstances being that he was kidnapped by a dog/bear, it makes it hard. But back in the day, like of Doctor Who, it was like you had to sort of, in a way, pass a few tests. To like sort of make your way onto the TARDIS, be part of that world, be a companion. Whereas now it's just, you're here, come on.
In you get.
So, I mean, I would like a bit more of that in a way, just more like, making it hard for people to make their way onto the TARDIS, because I feel like she's just opening the doors to anyone. I did find it funny how like every time they would go back into the TARDIS, the door was like upside down or like on its side or
that was
in another part of the room. I thought that was pretty cool.
Floor was cool, yeah.
That was great, yeah. Because like
cool.
I thought, what a sick effect, because they would have had to have built like the exterior, and then like added like a little chamber where they could just like climb up into the actual console room. I thought that was really cool.
It was sick. It was a good. It brought back to a bit of Flatline with the TARDIS shrinking and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and it's so funny. I think you must have mentioned that in the last time we cared enough to make a podcast about Doctor Who. But yeah, the idea that the TARDIS is sacred, it really just doesn't. And I think that ties again to. It doesn't feel like anyone is the protector of it because Jodie never feels like the Doctor. So there's there is a bit of a weird disconnect there. I think again Russell T Davies will bring that back around. I think.
I'm very excited for what he's going to do. To be honest, because like surely he's got ideas. Surely,
totally. He spent the last 10 years thinking something up.
Yeah, because like I didn't know this, but I saw a clip of Jodie on the Graham Norton show. I didn't know this was going to be her last series. I thought she was going to go on after this and maybe do like one series with with like, you know, our boy again, but
no. So the kind of, it's this series, there's 3 specials next year, and then it'll be the 60th that Russell Davies takes off.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. So this is basically the final full run of Jodie episodes.
Just give her a good moment, man. Because like it's really funny as well. Like, just speaking on it, it's like when we were younger and like the show was like in its prime, we wouldn't buy like all the merchandise. If it came out like on DVD, you'd go to JB Hi-Fi that day and buy the box set.
Yeah.
I haven't bought a single series on like since series 10.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like I don't.
I'm not going to watch it again.
Yeah, because like for me, I would buy them because it's like, I would want to watch them. I would like to have this in like its you know, format of Blu-ray. I would love that. But now I'm just like,
nah.
Yeah,
it is sad. It's sad how much love we've lost for the show. Hopefully, hopefully this is the one. Hopefully, you know, it's also one of those things that I think it might be the sum of its parts, because it is the idea of one story. Maybe this really rushed episode, when watched with the other 5, it'll kind of feel like a coherent thing. But yeah, it is. It's a different time for us in Doctor Who. It's very strange.
Very different time.
And the last thing I will say is, if there is like one like legitimately clever, fun idea in this whole thing, it is the idea that man's best friend comes back, and every dog alien has a human on Earth that they have to care for.
It's very
I think that's
funny.
It's a very cute idea.
Very funny. Yeah.
And a very good reveal of Jodie being like, oh, man's best friend. Like, that was very cute.
That was cool.
Great creature design as well. Like, I actually think it looks at times better than the Chewbacca and Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
There's a lot more movement in the face.
Totally. Well.
I did quite like that as an idea. And I like a good thick like English accent, so I'm excited for a very heavy accented dog to be in the show.
Of course,
but
absolutely.
Actually, speaking of that dog, the end of this episode where it just cuts to all the different people just looking directly into the camera, going, "Oh no!" and it's just like a soap opera. How insane was that? Mental.
That was great. It was really funny. Like, my brother Josh walked through the lounge room as I was watching it, and he's just seen a big dog on the screen and gone, what the hell is this? Which was really funny. And I'm sure you can imagine what his face would have been like.
Absolutely. It was probably not hell. It's probably not.
No, exactly. But one moment that I actually really found like to be like, I was like, oh, that's like funny, was when she asked Yaz to synchronize her watch, and she's like, oh, never mind, I haven't got a watch. I was like, that's funny. Like that's a quippy little line. Like, you know, give us more of that, because I've like back on, like, I know I'm just rambling now, but back onto like her doctor not being that like I guess grounded in like, you know, we don't really know what her sort of doctor is. There is that, because like she has a line like that, but then I find that after that it's just a bunch of nonsense. Like there's nothing that really like stands out, and I think that's part of the issue. So just more of that,
give her
please.
A voice.
Yeah,
she doesn't have a voice. Well, excuse me, as the character. So hopefully a bit more fun. Fun is never a bad thing to have, and I think Sontarans are hard not to have fun with. So I think next week might be a lot of fun. I hope. That maybe it's just bookended with these messy episodes, and that these middle couple are actually very concise and focused on an idea. Because Sontarans are fun, and we haven't seen them in this kind of a setting, which is kind of where they were in the classic series. They always turned up in kind of ancient times or different. But we've always had them in. I guess we had them in Victorian London with Strax and everything. But these guys look cool. They look very classic Who.
Absolutely.
which is sick. I do kind of hope, and I don't know how they do it, but I kind of would like Strax to be in there, and he can look like these ones, but I would like him to still be around. It's a weird thing, because it's like with Daleks they can kind of be up against each other, but if you have these guys next to the Russell T Davies ones, it will look strange. So I don't know. I hope Dan Starkey as Strax is somewhere in this next one, or at least Dan Starkey as a Sontaran would be fun. It
was funny though, because like when you have the two of them talking in that one scene, like one on the hologram, one in their ship. The one on the hologram I thought was him.
It certainly sounds like him.
There were moments where I was like, that's a bit like Drax, like a little bit. And
Totally.
I was trying to watch like the way like his mouth moved, like his eyes and stuff, because I was like, that's a dead giveaway with Drax. But yeah, I like, because obviously they look a lot different than like, you know, the ones we've got in the last few series. So it'd be cool if it was like they're Sontarans where they've just been cloned so much that over the cloning process features have like faded and gone away, you know? So it's like maybe there's still essences of like the Sontarans that we've seen before, but it's like these are just their cloned versions. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That's pretty sick. Yeah, that's a cool idea. And that's a good way to be able to have both of them on screen. It's just like these ones are just a bit more ugly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it should be fun. I'm excited to see how this all goes. I think we'll try to do these weekly because I'm sure we'll have thoughts. Yeah, just watch as it goes from like half an hour to like 10 minutes to just it's just
30 seconds of us just yelling.
Yeah. Oh no! Look, who knows? It might be a very pleasant surprise. The rest of this series.
Look, if it is, I really welcome it.
Yeah, and here's the great thing about you haven't bought series 11 and 12. You can buy this one because the spine will just say Flux, so you won't feel like you've missed numbers. You can have series 10 and then one that's just called Flux.
You won't be like, get rid of the other two, and to me, this is the only series with Jodie in it. Yeah. Yeah,
it's easy. It's easy.
Simple done. Yeah.
Simples. But if you want to hear more of our thoughts on this series, make sure you do stick around. If you're listening to it, hit follow wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. And if you don't want to see our faces, which is it's just fair, I guess. Very fair. If you don't want to, you can listen to it on most audio places. Sam, you making art? Where can people look at your art?
If you want to look at the art, there is art at Sam's Studio AU on Instagram. I've recently just been approved for a booth at Oz Comic Con Sydney in December. I believe it's December 4th and 5th. So that'll be happening. But yeah, if you want to have a look at some art, go on over. I'm just in the process of like making shit now because like there's like, especially Spider-Man, you don't know what's going to happen with that. So I've got like different versions of things lined up and it's like, well, whatever happens, we'll chuck that up.
Send. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Where can they listen to your art? Is there a place that they can just if they don't want to see it, can they listen to it somewhere?
I mean, look, if you want to listen to it, you can come to Oz Comic Con and I don't know, turn one into a tube and just yell into it. And then that can be the sound of the art. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. There you go. Yeah. Make sure you go to Oz Comic Con. That's what we're saying. If it's safe for you to do so, do it. Absolutely.
And that's it. I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we are. I mean, look, there's not much to say, is there?
There's not much to say on this one.
There's not much to say.
But we'll see. We'll see how this series goes. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Excited for Doctor Who. We'll see what happens. Until the next one, though, I've been Will.
And I've been Sam.
I'm pointing this way in the video because I know that's where I will put you.
You're here to me.
Yeah, okay, cool. So it's working for you. For me, I'm on the wrong side. So this is good.
Okay, this is good.
Click, click.